In a world where the galaxy has been thrown into turmoil, a fallen warrior's return offers a glimmer of hope. It's Return of the G's. But before they can focus on MLS, a new challenge looms on the horizon as the G's face the attack of the Cholos, Conejos, and the Santos. Let's get into it.
You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Good evening to you, wherever you may be, and welcome to News Across the Galaxy's The Midweek Show, coming at you live from the super secret NAG Studios, located deep in the hidden cave on the League's Cup Island. I'm your host, Edgar Zuniga, with the Salvi King himself on the ones and twos, Bryant Lobos. There we go, that's my horn right there. On tonight's show, we are going to briefly go over some MLS transfer news and then dive into a League's Cup preview for LA Galaxy as they prepare to take on Club Tijuana, Club Deportivo Cruz Azul, and Club Santos Laguna. And to help us and offer their perspective from the Cruz Azul and Liga MX side of things, please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Las Azulinas podcast, Diana and Virginia. Ladies, welcome to the show. We are so honored to have you joining us. How have you been?
Tired, man. Tired.
Looks like
It's
summer finally caught up to us, right?
no, yeah. I literally summer's just been work, work, work.
How about you,
But
Diana?
Yeah, I've been good. Thanks for having us on. We just got finished recording one of our
Oh,
episodes,
wow.
so should be up soon. But I'm excited to talk about Leagues Cup.
Well, ladies, before we dive into the Leagues Cup, let's go over some MLS transfer news. And if you guys want to jump in and offer your perspective, just go ahead. MLS transfer news. Fabrizio Romano confirmed earlier today that Bayern Munich and German national team legend Thomas Müller will be joining Vancouver Whitecaps on a 2-year deal. This is incredible because a lot of teams were rumored to be going after him, including LAFC, FC Cincinnati, and who knows, probably Inter Miami because they want everyone. Um, and this comes at a time when the Vancouver Whitecaps history is kind of up in the air. There's been rumors about their stadium deal, which is going to end pretty soon. And there's talks about how the team needs a new stadium and they're looking probably at outdoor stadium. They don't have an owner right now. They're like, well, their owner is trying to sell them and they're trying to keep the team in Vancouver. So this is a nice little boost for them. They're having a really good season. And I know you ladies are familiar with the Whitecaps because it was Cruz Azul versus Whitecaps in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Any thoughts on
Yeah.
them getting Thomas Muller? Do you think he would have made a difference in that final?
no.
We just like finished talking about that, and like they gave us nothing, but I'm glad they have like somebody now, like a big name. It's kind of funny he didn't want to go to like a US team specifically, but I mean it'll be cool to see. They are having a good season. I'm surprised again about the final, but yeah, that's good for them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I know we were just talking about this before we came on. Rodrigo de Paul. I don't know if he played for Inter Miami, but he was set to make his debut tonight as they take on Atlas. Man, what an interesting thing for Inter Miami, where they're just like getting everybody that just Messi wants, Messi gets, right?
Especially the Paul. Like, if you know, you know. Like, all that's left is Ugarte.
Don't say it, it might happen. You'd be surprised. You're like out of nowhere, heading into the playoffs. Here he comes. Um, and then other news also involving Liga MX, defender Marco Farfan is leaving FC Dallas to join Tigres. I'm just gonna say, if FC Dallas is ever playing Leagues Cup against Inter Miami, just make sure he's not in the scrum for those set pieces because we saw what happened when they play against Messi. He, he had that amazing own goal. He headed it straight into his own goal. You guys know what I'm talking about? Because that was insane. It wasn't just like a oops. It was like a boom, like right into the back of his own
Like
net.
straight, yeah, like if it was his, yeah.
Yeah, as if Miami needs any help, right? And then lastly, LAFC is still working to land Sang Hyun Min, which is, my God, that'll be huge, right? Not just for LAFC, but for yeah, we're a Galaxy Pod, but hey, we gotta mention it. He'd be really big for the city of LA. I'm sure a large Korean population out here. Um, but definitely his time with Tottenham has come to an end, and it looks like LAFC is probably the team that's going to land him because he's already expressed that he's not willing to go to Saudi Arabia. So it's either Saudi Arabia or MLS. I mean, if you girls had your chance, I mean, your shot, where would you go, MLS or Saudi Arabia?
MLS for sure, but son, since we're on the topic now, and I could like, he's the last player I want to see in LAFC, and like I'm a Liverpool fan, so he's like always the type of player that I thought he would land in Liverpool at some point. But man, I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. Like, to be honest, I hope it doesn't. But he's like
And
Yotis is there, so they have like that Spurs connection too. So I don't know. Seems kind of likely, but
and then yeah, Liverpool, right?
Oh, I
Oh
shouldn't.
my
I can't.
God.
Yeah, I can't speak on my team name.
I'm a Fulham supporter, so I know I don't have a dog in the fight. Fulham is just happy to be in the Premier League,
mm,
existing.
mid-table team, not bad.
Yeah, yeah. And then in Galaxy News, in case you missed it, or you live under a rock, or you're hidden in some cave somewhere, Ricky Pooch is officially on the LA Galaxy League Cup roster. And if you've been tracking his recovery from knee surgery last December, this falls in line with the time he's expected to resume playing. Any thoughts on Ricky's return? How much do you guys expect him to play?
I'm so happy for him to come back, but the way this season is going, I wouldn't wanna risk it. Just want him to fully recover. Like that injury is not like to be taken lightly. So I hope he gets like full recovery before like he's just thrown in there and like trying to like save our season in any kind of way. But yeah.
So, ladies, like I said earlier, thank you so much for joining us. Las Azulinas podcast. Can you please tell us how you got started and what was your inspiration?
Um, I can answer that because I'm not very familiar with MLS like how Diana is. So this is more so a topic I can really like speak on. So me and Diana, we have our own group chat and things of that sort. But we had a lot of people that came to us and say, "Oh well," from different fan bases. Ironically, like they weren't necessarily Cruz Azul followers, and they told us they're like, "Oh well, the way you guys speak on the team, you guys should think about doing a podcast." And around that time, we were talking about it, so we felt like it was a push for us. So the first game that we recorded, it was the Clásico Joven against Club America, and everybody like received us pretty well. So it was like, well, you know what? It's just entre amigas, so it's like it's easier. It's not like, oh, like I'm a stranger or she's a stranger, anything like that. So it it was easy to keep up that, how do I say, that mellow conversation going. And that's pretty much how we started, really. It was the classical joven. And it's been almost, I believe, a year that we started.
Wow, you're celebrating 1 year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
hear. Come on,
you.
let's hear some horns. Let's see some action. Right there we go. We get some explosions going over here. Well, I'm sure we'll get some fireworks in a bit. Diana, what did you think when the idea came up for the podcast? We were like, okay, we're just gonna, how are we gonna do it? Are we gonna just start talking? Are we gonna offer some information? What are we gonna do that's a little bit different? That's gonna
I
attract audience.
I was pushing, yeah. I was pushing for it, like, as in, maybe we don't have like a lot of like ball knowledge, as they say. But Cruz Azul is where like it's our area of expertise. I guess we could say. So we are pushing it as Like maybe we'll just recap the games. And I have experience in editing, so I was like, yeah, we could for sure do it. Like, that's probably the main reason why we only do audio as of now. But yeah, like we just found that we always have conversations, so why not just put it in a podcast and have people listen and have people join us too. Like just the way that you guys do it here, we kind of want to do something similar and just having like fans from like different teams join us and stuff like that. But yeah, we really like it was kind of like really quick, but we're just like trying to be consistent and we're just very happy with how it's going so far and like how people receive us and like the feedback that we get and everything.
For sure, for sure. I completely agree with her. Especially because I feel like we have something different. We don't necessarily like to be biased and be like, well, let's pity our team or anything like that. Like, if anybody takes a second to listen to our podcast, you know that we acknowledge our errors tremendously, like, very tremendously. It's not just, oh, well, you know what? It's okay. It's whatever. The ref was cheating us. Like, like that's literally not the podcast that we try to give out. We just try to be raw and let that be our
Hmm.
thing.
Is your podcast just English, or do you also do Spanish and English and go back and forth?
It's mainly English right now.
Yeah, honestly.
I apologize. I have
We
some
throw
people
some.
just showed up to my house, and it's gonna be noisy. So if you hear my dog or anything, that's how you know I'm live
Oh, you're
in my studio. Yeah, some people
you're
just snuck
good.
into the super secret nag base over here. But Diana, I see behind you certain kids, and I see one just to the left of you. I know you're also an LA Galaxy fan, so watching Galaxy versus Cruz Azul is probably gonna be a little strange for you, right?
Yeah, people have been asking me ever since it got announced how I feel, who I'm gonna go for. They want me to say somebody so bad, but I love both of these teams. Galaxy, like I'm a local kid, so I have to love Galaxy. I grew up watching Cruz Azul, and I love them, and I literally have a whole podcast about them. So, of course, I feel like on my teams, like the love is mutual, and I think the most criticism I could give, or preview of this game I could give, is based on the current season. So that makes it like a little easier, I think I could say. But it is definitely like my heart will be like in in two. So yeah, it's a win-win for me.
Well, I mean, the team does have some has a club legend that has ties to both clubs. We're talking about Carlos Hermosillo, who I was very fortunate to have met, interviewed way back when he was with the LA Galaxy. Just a consummate gentleman. Whenever we see him on, he's always very professional, and he was an amazing player for the LA Galaxy. He had a rough time to get going, but there was some club lore with him where he had a difficult time scoring, and one of the Galaxy fans found this rock on a hike, and it looked like a person screaming goal, and so he brought it and he showed it to Hermosillo. And after that, he scored his first goal. He had a brace, and then after that, he started scoring more goals, and the Galaxy ended up winning a lot of games in that season. But it's just funny how stuff like that happens. But I remember him very fondly with the LA Galaxy. But before he was with the LA Galaxy, he was with Cruz Azul, and he delivered one of the most painful memories for me as a Galaxy fan, and we'll get into that later. But before the Cruz Azul match, I have to mention, the match with LA Galaxy versus Club Tijuana, and I'm gonna give you a quick preview of that, and you girls can jump in if you have any kind of info you want to mention anything regarding that match. You're more than welcome to. But real quick, like most Liga MX teams, Club Tijuana is 3 matches into the Apertura season, and they sit in 10th place after opening at home with a 1-0 win over Querétaro, followed with a 3-1 loss at Azteca to Club America, and most recently a 1-1 draw back at home versus Juarez. Strangely enough, they have only scored one goal this season by Ramiro Arciga in the loss to Club America. In the other two matches, they benefited from own goals scored by the other clubs. Galaxy fans, you will know who the captain is because it's a former G, Joe Corona. He's going to be leading Club Tijuana into this match. The all-time record versus LA Galaxy, they played each other only three times, two times in the CONCACAF Champions League and one time in Leagues Cup. Galaxy has two wins. Cholos only has one, no draws. Both of those losses were here in LA. The last time they faced each other was in the quarterfinals of Leagues Cup on July 23rd, 2019. They ended up tied 2-2 after 90 minutes. The match went to penalty kicks, with Galaxy prevailing 3-1 to advance to the semifinals, where they would eventually lose to Cruz Azul. Club Tijuana has never won a match in Leagues Cup in five previous matches. And we were not able to get a Club Tijuana podcast on, but we did get a comment from Cesar Hernandez, who was part of this the Cholos podcast. And I asked him, what's your prediction for this match? He says, sure, I think it'll be a 1-1 match that goes to penalties. Although Galaxy have had their issues, the same could be said of Tijuana as well, and their attack hasn't exactly been brilliant. That said, keep an eye on 16-year-old Gilberto Mora. He's the best prospect in Mexican soccer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he steps up once again. Ladies, what do you think about this matchup between Galaxy and Club Tijuana? You think Galaxy can get one over the Cholos?
Mm,
I think Galaxy has more over Tijuana right now, and I'm gonna go with Galaxy. But yeah, I think the only standout for me is just like they said is Gilberto Mora, and this is like a perfect game for him to also shine, like in a different. He's done it with Mexico and he's done it, but this is like a great way for him to show what he can do as well. But I feel like that's like the only bright spot that Tijuana has, and I think I it's really hard to put a scoreline prediction on it, but yeah, I would just say Galaxy for this one.
Virginia, what do you think?
well, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a hater. I hate watch all the time. Me and Diana, we mentioned this a lot. We did just mention it yesterday in recording. There's certain teams that we tend to play the certain ways, so I am in favor of Galaxy. So I'm gonna say Galaxy.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I think this would be a good opportunity for LA Galaxy to start off on a good note. Cholos has been having a really hard time scoring, but Galaxy has been very giving this year. The defense is very soft, especially up the middle. And Joe Corona will probably want to make a big splash in his return to LA. He was like, "Come on, boys, let's go take on these guys." But this LA Galaxy team has looked different in recent matches. They didn't get to play against Houston, so that there's kind of that enigma of like could they have kept that same momentum that they had against LAFC. So it'll be interesting to see how they do against Club Tijuana tomorrow. But I will say I expect Galaxy to win this match. I'm gonna say very close, 2-1, because it's LA Galaxy and everything has to be all dramatic. And it'll probably be like late goal, or like Cesar said, they might even have to go to penalties, to decide who wins. But it's definitely not going to be boring because LA Galaxy fans, everybody has to have like a heart attack this year. It's been really rough for us. Um, let's get into Cruz Azul. Okay, Cruz Azul is also three matches into the Apertura season. They're currently in fifth place after opening at home with a scoreless draw versus Mazatlan, followed by a 3-3 draw on the road versus Atlas, before returning home to absolutely crush Leon 4-1 over the weekend. Ladies, what are the expectations for Cruz Azul fans heading into the 2025 Apertura season?
Do you want to go, Diana, or should I?
You go, Pina.
Okay. So obviously, the way how Cruz Azul is right now, everybody is shining a very bright light on Cruz Azul because we are the CONCACAF champions, and Sanchez did leave Larcamon with a really tremendous team that he's working on improving. So I think fans everywhere they have insanely high expectations, but me personally, in the way how I'm seeing it, is it's a slow and steady pace. And it's not to be negative or anything like that, thinking like, oh, well, I don't want banger results at the start. It's more so something like there's a lot of things that are new. We have a new coach, like how I said, we're getting some new players, and we have to see how they fit into the squad, and how some players are just gonna have their part within the team. But more so is just to see how Larcamon does with Cruz Azul, because I personally I really like Vicente Sanchez, but you gotta. I can't be like one of those fans like, oh my god, like let's kick him out already or all that, because then I am gonna sound like a hypocrite. Because you gotta give him time and let him do his magic, and that's the best way I could put it.
I mean, it's you go from winning the Champions Cup, right? And then you're like,
Yeah,
okay, let's shift our focus back to Liga MX. Um,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean how do you go from that to? I mean, you're still pulling for that Liga MX championship, right, Diana?
Um, yeah, I know all around the expectations are pretty high, and Cruz Azul fans forget that we've been in between coaches for like in between like three coaches for the past season and a half. So yes, we want them to go in for the Liga MX, which is like for me in the like highest priority.
for
Um,
sure.
and then Leagues Cup for me, the expectation is yes, like we obviously want to go all the way. We hold the title over our heads like champions, CONCACAF champions. But also we have won Leagues Cup before, literally the first edition of it. So it's kind of like Cruz Azul goes for it all. So I do kind of expect them to go a bit far in the tournament.
Yeah, it's interesting to me how Cruz Azul does well in these international tournaments, but back in Liga MX, they've had that enigma, that stigma of being salados, that they always get to the final and oh la Cruz Azulearon, right? But yeah, on the international scale, they're not doing that bad. And of course, they did break that streak. They eventually did win the Liga MX championship. But my God, for the longest time, I remember seeing all those the cartoons, the memes, everything. I was like, damn, that team is salado, man. It's
Oh my
but
god, I don't like
We're
that
but
still
word.
living with that,
Yeah,
but we're
I
trying to
don't
change
like that word.
so
we're trying
um
to change what that word means nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know, like it's for me, I feel like it's hard to like really like hear these words and stuff, because like I don't think it's like relevant anymore. But then again, like we've mentioned a lot of times on our podcast, like we lose ourselves, like we make so many errors and things like that that cost us the games. And so I guess, but I don't like it. I personally don't like it. And it sucks because I started doing my media around that time too. Like when we won the novena, or when we were making our way on to winning la novena. So it's just like that word is just it irks me.
so let me ask you about Leagues Cup specifically because you mentioned how you feel about Cruz Azul's entry into Leagues Cup, and going for it. But where do you feel? And you kind of answered this already. But where do you feel Leagues Cup falls between the Liga MX Championship and the Concacaf Champions Cup as far as a priority?
I feel like
As
it's far.
go ahead.
Oh no, I just have like a simple answer, and it's just like it's a new tournament, so it's like we've won it, but it comes below those two.
For
I would
sure.
say.
I
I
mean, you get
completely
a
agree.
spot in the Champions Cup with that, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
But
and Champions Cup has helped us qualify for like more in like I guess prestigious international cups like FIFA Club World Cup and all of that. So yeah, it is. I just think obviously winning your league is the main priority, and then um yeah, that's just what I think. League for sure.
I agree because it's like everybody knows this past year and a half, we've literally been this close to, we did go to the final. We've been super close to the final. So it's just like, I know our time's coming. I personally do prefer the Liga MX championship over anything, but it's not to not to discredit like the Leagues Cup or, make it seem like, oh, it's like a pity tournament or anything like that. But it's just for me, it's more so Liga MX. Like that is what my main concern.
No, I agree. And also, do you think it's fair that all these matches have to take place at MLS stadiums in Canada and the U.S. away from Mexico?
For me, I feel like it's hard to say if it's fair or unfair, but one thing I do agree with everybody else, I do think it should be on a neutral field in terms of that because obviously, it gives MLS the advantage because, for example, you see Cruz Azul has to travel to Seattle and then LA and then Colorado. So it's like, you know, obviously it's not like it's too far, but in terms like that, like traveling wise and everything, I'm sure it's exhausting on the players because they have to like work around these grounds that they're not necessarily used to when they're playing in Mexico. But I mean, what can we do?
I, for me, and I really don't like talking about this, but it comes to like the business side of things and the reason why people call it like a cash grab for the leagues or for whoever. I don't even like this is why I don't like talking about it, but yeah, it's not fair. But they know that fans in the US will show out for games, so I think that's like the main reason, but it's definitely not fair. I would love to see the like Leagues Cup games in Mexico and see how that goes and see how people like it, but I don't think that will happen anytime soon.
Yeah, and the way things are really weird right now with traveling across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, it's like it adds
Yeah,
a little bit of extra, dimension to things that obviously is unwelcome, right? Let's be honest. Personally, I don't like Liga. I mean, I don't like Leagues Cup. I think Liga MX teams, the fact that they're interrupted just 3 games into the season, and then you have to travel
Hmm.
to the U.S. and Canada and go back and forth. It's kind of rough.
hmm,
There's a fact that all the MLS teams also have had wild scheduling conflicts all season long just to shoehorn the League Cup in there. And then we already have the Champions Cup. I mean, that's what to me. That's where I want to see Liga MX versus MLS in the Concacaf Champions Cup, where I feel that really matters. The bottom line to me,
Yeah.
like you guys said, is just a cash grab.
for
And this has
sure.
been a very
Hmm.
congested summer. We had the European tournament, we had the World Cup, we had all these other things going on, and somewhere in the middle of all this,
Yeah.
we were just talked about it was the MLS All Star game, right, against Liga MX. Barely anyone noticed it happened because there's so much going on,
Yes.
right?
I was one of those. I didn't know until I seen the clip. I think it was either people were mentioning me or something. It had to do with Seppu. I know it had to do with Seppu, but I didn't even know until the next day. So I was like, and that's insane because I remember like years like before, I was so excited. Like for example, when again, not to mention, but honorable mention La Novena squad. I was excited when a good chunk of that squad was in it. But this year, I didn't even know when it was happening. I thought it was like a week from now or something like that. I didn't know like, well, everybody's talking about it because it just happened.
Yeah, and MLS, like I said, they wanted to just smash Liga. I mean, Leagues Cup right into the middle of the season, right? And so you had Galaxy playing like 9 matches in May, which is insane, right? And then all of June they just play. I mean, these 3 matches. It's been really weird back and forth. And then you have teams that are forced to play 3 matches in 1 week, and all this just to fit Leagues Cup into the season. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I personally, I'm a fan of the U.S. Open Cup,
Yeah.
where you play these games over the course of the season, and that makes more sense to
Mhm.
me. But cash grab, and they're trying to get as much money as they can right now. I mean, if you're a fan that is obsessed with going to every single thing that's going on in the U.S. with soccer related or football related,
Right.
you're probably bankrupt at this point because there's so much stuff that happen and the tickets are expensive for everything. Um, but let's get back to Cruz Azul.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what major additions? I'm going to ask you two questions. Okay, what major additions did the club make in the offseason to bolster the team? And for those not familiar with Cruz Azul, can you tell us who are the top players for people to observe?
Mm,
Go
which one?
ahead.
I'd say our
Both.
biggest addition is obviously our new coach, Larcamon, which it's been a little bit, how do I say, a little controversy between fans and stuff like this. And we were talking about this yesterday. So it's kind of ironic how, mentioning this and stuff. But the more and more that we get to see Larcamon and see how he's influencing certain players and giving players that we weren't really seeing gaining a chance under Sanchez and that foot in. Like, for example, we have Campos, who was doing tremendously really like well in the preseason, who was inactive due to an injury, and so we get to see him again. And then we're getting people like Bogusz, who's actually like starting to make his mark within the squad, and he knows what it means to be under Cruz Azul, and he knows Cruz Azul is a team that's filled with passion. Like, if you know Cruz Azul, we're there through the losses, we're there through the wins, we're there through the ties, through all the corruption and all that. Like, we're through it all. And he knows what it means to be Cruz Azul, and I feel like he's a genuinely really good fit. So he's our biggest addition by far. And then we have Paradela, who is contributing who just contributed 3 assists, and he's like looking to be a really good matchup with Sepu, who's also doing tremendously exceptionally well. And I could talk about Sepu for hours and hours, but it's not the time for it. And then we also have Jeremy Marquez, who came from Atlas. And also, Paradera did come from Larmon's Necaxa team, so that's also something,
Exactly.
to mention.
Yeah.
But we have Jeremy Marquez, who literally debuted and scored against us. Now he's scoring for us. So his versatility is something that I'm really excited for because I love that. I love a switch up. And I think the way how we play and all that, he would be someone who's really, keen on to watch. And as for players, Diana,
Well, I think you mentioned them for me because I think Bogush, he has that experience against MLS teams, Galaxy specifically too. Um, and he was in that one team that shall not be named, but they he knows what it means to play against MLS too. I think he'll be a standout as well. Um, I think Paradela too. He's gonna be a really good like he is a good addition already, but I'm excited to see more of him. And then Sepulveda too, I have to say, because we can't undermine him, and as much as he's already underrated, we cannot because
I agree.
he's been the top scorer for 2 previous seasons already, and um, as we were talking about international competitions, he stood out in like maybe the most important one in our recent history. So I think those three for sure, and honorable mention to Charlie, by the way.
For yes, I don't care. We're Charlie lovers over here. I'll defend him through my life and all that because he's someone who's actually been like very vital in filling that captain role. Because Rivero's he's our cappy always through thick and thin. But sometimes we don't see Rivero in the starting lineup. So Charlie is someone who's like very well contributing to that leadership role. But Sepu by far is our biggest key player. And like how I said, I completely agree. I think he's been highly underrated and is, I don't care what the people have to say, but maybe one of the best Mexican strikers right now. And I'll take that any day, every day. So like he's someone who's very vital, and I wish people like keep an eye on him and knows what we're talking about. I understand the age could be something that people don't necessarily want to take a look at. But somehow some players they start hitting their prime once they hit that number. So it just happens.
Well, ladies, before taking on LA Galaxy, Cruz Azul will travel to Lumen Field, take on a very strong and resilient Seattle Sounders squad. Um, and just give you guys a quick perspective, Cruz Azul's all-time record versus Seattle Sounders. They met each other three times in the CONCACAF Champions League. Cruz Azul has two wins. Seattle has one. Cruz Azul absolutely destroyed the A League Seattle Sounders 11-0 at home in the 1996 CONCACAF Champions Cup. My God. um, but the last time out was a round of 16 of the 2025 CONCACAF Champions Cup, which just happened. March 5th was a scoreless first leg in Seattle, and then March 11th, second leg, Cruz Azul smashed Seattle 4-1 to advance to the quarterfinals on their way to winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Um, do you think Cruz Azul pairs up well against Seattle, a Seattle team that's pretty strong this season? Dana, you might be able to, answer that one a little bit better because you follow MLS closely. But is this a good pairing for Cruz Azul, or do you think Cruz Azul is gonna like overwhelm Seattle?
To be honest, I just know like their place in the Western Conference right now, and yes, they do have like they are having a strong. They are one of the stronger MLS sides, and they're having what their fourth place. So I think Rasul has more over them. The way that Rasul is playing as of right now, I think that and just like the past records against Seattle, I feel like Seattle will not be able to get past them. Um, and I think Rasul has the over right now.
What is your prediction in that match against Seattle? Both of you.
If
It's
you know
really
us, we don't like putting
today a
scoreline.
scoreline.
We don't really like putting a scoreline on our
We
games and
used
stuff.
to though.
Come on.
We were pretty accurate with it and all that. But in the way how
I
I
mean, I'm
see
gonna
this
just
stuff,
go ahead and say
go for it.
I'm gonna just like I'll be comfortable or I'll be like good with like a 3-1 win, Rasul. I
Oof.
think that's pretty good. We could get three past Seattle and maybe one of our we need yet to get together, but I think they'll score.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident too in a win. I understand why people, aren't necessarily like really confident in us because they have the same vibes with us playing the Whitecaps in the CONCACAF final. It's like, oh well, what are you guys gonna do? You guys just lost Liga and stuff like that. So it's just like, and Seattle was I would say, one of our biggest opponents in that tournament, for me at least. So I do see it being a very tight knit game, but I am very confident Cruz Azul can at least more than two or two up for sure.
Yeah, I think Cruz Azul it's coming off the Champions Cup. Although it's still early in the season for Liga MX, I think they're gonna probably take this one over Seattle. I think it'll be tight too. I think it'll be like 2-1, 3-2, maybe a little
Yeah.
exciting. See
All
some
I know
goals in
is
there.
I don't want penalties. I can't
Yeah.
no. Like if you know our keeper, like penalties are not needed. So I'm really hopeful that I hope really
Yeah.
hope that we win.
All right. Well, so in case anybody's wondering, Cruz Azul's record in Leagues Cup stands at 5 wins and 3 losses. These wins include wins over Chicago Fire, LA Galaxy, Philadelphia Union, Orlando City, Atlanta United, and strangely enough, those 3 losses, one of them was to Inter Miami, and then 2 losses for some reason Charlotte FC. It's kind of strange to me. Um, LA Galaxy versus Cruz
Oh,
Azul all time.
you'll
They've
be
only played
friends.
each other 2 times, and Cruz Azul won both games. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Galaxy has never beaten Cruz Azul in a official capacity. Now, I mentioned that one of those losses was very painful memory for me, and yes, it is. This is the 1997 CONCACAF Champions Cup final. I remember I was with the Galaxians watching this on the old John Bull pub, which no longer exists. It's a pub that was located in Pasadena. It was very dark and very British. If you've ever been to a British pub, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like you entered a cave. So we're all sitting there, and Galaxy was up 2-0 after 14 minutes. They're flying high. Mauricio Cienfuegos was the Galaxy midfielder at the time. He was like the heart of the team. He was just doing an amazing job. Then he suffered a horrible tackle that was not carded, and he was forced to leave the match. Cruz Azul went on to score 5 goals before Jorge Campos, who has switched to forward, scored in the 78th minute for the LA Galaxy, and Cruz Azul beat Galaxy 5-3 in the 1997 CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Ah, damn, that was terrible. And you know who was playing for Cruz Azul at the time? Carlos Hermosillo. Oh my God. Um,
Hermosillo.
yeah. So the last time out that these two teams played
You
each
weren't
other
even
was in
born
this.
then. But I love
Oh
that. I love
wow!
that recap. Sorry.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel very young there. Thanks. Oh, I think I was all of 21 years old at the time.
That was a
Uh,
great. That was a great recap, by the way.
yeah,
For sure.
thank you very much. The last time these two teams played each other was in the semifinal of the 2019 Leagues Cup at Dignity Health Sports Park on August 8th, 2019. Cruz Azul took an early lead with a goal by Jose Madueña in the fourth minute. A goal by Emil Cuello in the 37th minute tied the match for Galaxy. But Oberlin Pineda's goal, 2 minutes into the second half, put Cruz Azul ahead up for good, with Los Cementeros advancing to the final, where they defeated Tigres 2-1 to win the first ever Leagues Cup.
Amazing.
Ladies,
Yes, sir.
um, what are your thoughts heading into this match? I mean, and I'm not asking for prediction, just your thoughts heading into this match because LA Galaxy has had a lot of early struggles. But in recent results, they've only lost one of their last 5 matches, and that includes that comeback against LAFC where they tied the match at the death. Obviously, like I said, they didn't play against Houston because they got rained out. But this is a team that seems to be trending up, and a certain Ricky Puig is looming on the horizon.
I
I'm
think
confident. Go
the
ahead.
fact that Galaxy are finally getting it together, and yes, we know the start they had. We know that they were losing all their games, but that's gonna help them a lot facing a team like Cruz Azul. Um, because Cruz Azul has a squad that is barely coming together. Like you said, we only have had 3 games, official games under Larcamon, and with this new squad. So they're still getting like that chemistry, that feel for each other, and I think this will be a close game. I cannot I'm not even like picking a side here, but I I'm not gonna pick a side. I can't pick a side. But it's gonna be a close game. And Bina, you said you're confident in like what?
I
I
mean,
don't.
they have to put on a show for me because I'm coming all the way from Stockton, California.
Yeah,
So my team has to show out. Like they have to. And honestly, it's always a pleasure to see El Cuate play live because this is gonna be my third time seeing him play live. So, I know I'm really, really confident in him. And then I had to see the guys just ball out. So I don't want to put a scoreline either on this game, but I'm super, extremely confident in the guys. Just as long as we don't get no penalties. I can't take no more penalties.
I cannot see
Yeah,
penalties either. I cannot see, but I don't know. I cannot see penalties, but I mean, hopefully somebody gets it done in 90, right? I don't know. We'll see.
The last minute
yeah.
winner by a header, if you know, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, it's just I have this thing where I've been saying for the past year that we're gonna win La Décima by a header. So it's a superstition type of thing, and it'd be even better if it's Sepu. But Rivero too. I love the Capi. So, you know, as long as they put on a game for me, because I'm doing miles over here.
So let's get into the tactical approach for the LA Galaxy. Tactically speaking, LA Galaxy's strengths are shooting from direct free kicks. We've seen them do this, get some goals like that. Galaxy, they're very good on the counterattack, which is interesting because they've built themselves as a possession-minded football team. Some of the weaknesses, including they're very weak on aerial duels and defending against through ball attacks. We mentioned how for some reason they're very soft up the middle, and they're also always committing a lot of individual errors, which is something that plagued them horribly in that first half of the season. Galaxy style play includes attacking a lot more down the right than the left, taking a lot of long shots, working on short passes, and playing with a wide field to spread the ball around as much as possible. And they're into the possession football, like I said. And um, Bryant, I want to bring it up real quick. I just want to mention that the League's Cup roster for the LA Galaxy was leaked a few days ago. And you'll notice a specific name. I don't know, you have to like really, really squint, but in there listed is a certain Ricky Pooch. So he is officially on the League's Cup roster. We've seen him practicing with his teammates, and it all signs point to him making his return to the club during this tournament. In what capacity, we don't know. We definitely don't think he's going to be starting. I don't think he's ready for a full 90 or even like half, playing a half. But seeing him come in for like 10 or 20 minutes, I think would be interesting. It would be very encouraging for his teammates, for fans. Um, and so that's going to be something to look forward to. Um, Ladies, what can you tell me about Cruz Azul as far as their greatest strengths? What are they weak? And what factors of the game are they weak with? And what kind of style play do they usually implement?
I think I'm gonna start with weakness, but I think it's the same individual errors. We've seen that like season after season, where they kind of just like fall asleep in the defensive half, in transitions. So like that's a huge strength for Galaxy to have in this case. And then also like we just saw, to answer the comment, Kevin Mier is the goalie, and he just messed up on like two of the goals against Atlas. And that's like one of the weaknesses. I wouldn't say it's a weakness, but they don't really play with wingers. They play more with like their um their fullbacks, so like both sides. So Larcamon likes to um have them push up and down, um more so as like versus using the wingers. And then like the strengths as well is having like possession. Like they are always in, literally even in the final third, they like to have the ball. And maybe a little bit of a weakness there was what is like when they lose it, they don't really like keep that high press, which is why they're, I think they're so bad in like transitions. Not like so bad, but also I just think that having like our central, like our main attacker, which is Sepulveda, is a huge plus, because then we have like in like the formation, you have somebody right behind him, which would either be like Bogush, or it could be Paradela even, which is just like feeding him there. So I think like that's a huge plus to have. So I just think um like those one-on-ones that that Galaxy um can be kind of like, can kind of lack like those one-on-one duels. Like we would need to in the Cruz Azul side, we would need to like kind of take advantage of that. um but yeah, I think like just getting into the final third and creating those chances, they do create a lot of chances, but that the weakness in that is that they don't convert them as much, and that it's kind of frustrating to see. But yeah, that's the main thing. I know Chewy is not with Cholos anymore. Is he with Cholos? I think Tonio Rodriguez is there. is their goalie now for Tijuana.
So we're gonna do something interesting here. We're gonna you see that Adam there was it's called a super chat, and whenever we have a super chat, we do something special that helps Ricky Puja's knee heal a little bit better. Go for it,
Oh
Brent. Let's
yes.
hear it. Yeah, because he's built like a little like a little like Peter Pan type guy. So we got to use a little fairy magic to help his knee heal a little bit better. He asks, "Do you guys know who the Cruz Azul and TJ's goalies are?" You said Kevin Mier is the goalkeeper for Cruz Azul, and for Tijuana, it's trying to remember real quick. Brent, who was it again?
Tonyo.
It was Jesus de Corona. Yeah, Chu de Corona, like we guys said. So he's still with Cholos. Talking about goalkeepers, we're going to talk about the Galaxy goalkeepers in a sec because something interesting I think is about to happen. But just real quick, Galaxy's top players, obviously Marco Roche, 5 goals, 8 assists. Gabriel Beck, 4 goals, 5 assists. And then you have Joseph Painsil, Diego Fagundes, and Christian Ramirez who all have 4 goals each. And then it comes to question: who's going to be a goalkeeper for LA Galaxy? Because will we see Vanny give Novak Mikovic a break for Leagues Cup? Does that mean we're going to see a return of J-Mac, John McCarthy, or will we finally see JT Marcinkowski make his Galaxy debut? It's very interesting because John McCarthy has that resume where he's won the 2 MLS Cups. I obviously he's a former LAFC player, but he's had a lot of issues with distribution. Especially, he's not particularly good with his feet. It's something that when I in the conversations I've had with LAFC podcasts, they all wince when we mention it. They're like, "Yeah, he's not good with his feet," and they're like, "No, he's not, man. That's why he's no longer with the club." So Novak Mikovic is finally getting his opportunity to play with the club. So I wonder, are we going to see John McCarthy or JT Marcinkowski, who formerly used to play with the Earthquakes and was really good for them until he suffered a horrible, horrible injury, and he hasn't played in almost 2 years now. But when he's good, he's good, but he hasn't been playing forever. Diana, what do you think? I know you're more closely related to Galaxy, so who would you rather see, John McCarthy or Marcinkowski?
McCarthy, for sure. I want to see him back. It like league too, but I'd rather have McCarthy, just for the experience too, that he brings, and yeah, I'd rather have him there.
What about Mike Chakowski from Monsters Inc.? Where's Chakowski? Arsikowski. Poor guy. I think Galaxy brought him on just to have like an insurance policy, but he he's good. It's just when he's gonna get his shot, I think we might see him in this tournament. Like I said, J Mac might get maybe the first match, but I think no, I think we might see him against Tijuana, Marcinkowski, and then I think in a bigger match against Cruz Azul, you might see John McCarthy between the sticks. Um, so ladies, we're gonna be wrapping it up soon, but I want to ask you, what's it gonna take for LA Galaxy to defeat Cruz Azul in their match this weekend?
Go for it,
Mm,
Pina.
honestly, the biggest thing I could say is exposing Mier. Because Mier, he's someone who loves to step into that CB role, which some teams really do take advantage. And as we've seen in the game against Atlas, it was very vital. So if they're able to work their way around Mier, if in some way Galaxy is rewarded a penalty, or if we go into penalties, I would say more so in that part. Because even though I do stand by and I can gladly say Mier is a talented keeper and by far one of the best keepers, you know, in the league. He does his lavish style of play is vital. It's a pro and it's entertaining to see, but it's very it exposes him in quite a few times. So if they're able to work their way around Mier, then you know We have a very good chance of
I
being
think the
cooked.
same. Yeah, I think the same. If Galaxy is quick at decision making and they're able to get to take advantage of the long shots that because Mia does come off his area a lot, and they will get something there for sure. Um, and I think just minimizing the errors from the defense is gonna be huge, because that is like Rasul our offensive team, so we really need Galaxy really needs to get that together.
Look at poor Diana. She's torn between both teams. But it's like dos mujeres un camino, right? Dos clubes un camino. Oh my goodness, which camino is Diana gonna take this weekend? So
I'll be
this
there. I'll
is
be
where
in.
you'll be there, but my goodness, your heart's gonna be torn in half. So let's get to it. The prediction for this match this weekend, obviously, uh, Cruz Azul has to take on Seattle first. Galaxy has to take on Tijuana first, and depending on what happens in those matches, it might affect who's available to play. But let's say everybody's still healthy, and let's say both clubs got wins in those matches against Seattle and against Tijuana. You have Galaxy versus Cruz Azul, which is it's a marquee matchup on paper, right? You have the defending MLS Cup champions against the reigning undisputed pound for pound best team in Concacaf and Cruz Azul,
Like,
and it's a marquee matchup. What do you girls say? Who wins this match? Because it has to be a winner.
Cruz Azul.
Just like that.
Of course,
Is,
you're
is,
gonna
is it
say
going to be a close match? What do you think?
I think it would be okay. So, and this is in the way how I view things more so. I never ever want to discredit our opponent. And like obviously, as you guys know, like I am a little bit more on the quiet side of MLS because locally, my team would have to be Earthquakes, and if you know, Earthquakes aren't really no.
Smurfs, baby.
So yeah,
big stuff.
so it is what it is. But Cruz Azul holds my heart, and I'm very confident. I did say that they are kind of like moving in a little bit slow, but obviously the Leon game did, put that nail in. So if I want to put a score on it, I really do think I'm gonna probably like take a nap off what Diana said towards the Seattle Sounders game. I think a good 3-1 is what I'm looking towards, and I'm pretty cool with that.
Diana, this is where your heart's torn in half. What do you have to say?
I don't think I could say, but I can't say. You're really gonna make me say, huh?
Look, you're like Kylo
I
Ren
okay. I would just.
in that. I know there's
I
something I need
cannot
to
say,
do, but
but
I can't do it.
I just think Cruz Azul has a bigger advantage right now. They have. Oh gosh, they I want Cruz Azul to get it done in 90. I'm gonna go 2-1.
2-1
No
Cruz Azul.
penalties, please. I don't want to see any penalties.
just for,
I
just to make her
don't.
suffer, Virginia. Let's have the match go to penalties, and you see Diana just like sitting there like sweating crazy.
I'm literally
I
gonna like.
I don't even think I can see, and then like it's just that's just hard because like Cruz Azul and penalties we don't mesh well together. And like if by
Uh-uh.
chance if by chance Mier is the keeper, so we do have to keep that in mind if he is the keeper because we also have Godinho. I don't think we'll see Emi Ochoa get any minutes, but it's a good chance that Godinho might take his place. But I don't. If it's Mier, we're cooked. Like
That's
You know what?
awesome.
Maybe I could say
Yeah.
that. Like,
So you're saying
like
there's
if
a
if
chance?
we
I and
if it
that's
ends
the
in
one
90,
we
sorry,
got
if it
it
ends in 90, Cruz Azul. If it goes to penalties, Galaxy.
for
That's what I'm
sure.
talking about. There you
Yeah,
go. You're saying
that
there's
I
a
can
chance.
agree. You like that? I completely agree with because, like, like how he said, we're not biased. We can acknowledge where we make mistakes, and penalties are not our best suit. So teams take advantage of that by far.
Oh yeah, Galaxy's so good at penalties, right, Diana? It's actually one of the
Well,
club's like biggest like issues, like
Literally
set
the
pieces
worst.
and penalties.
this,
So
yeah.
imagine how.
Well, ladies, we're
But
gonna start to wrap it up, but there's a Galaxy has another has one more match, and that's against Club Santos, and obviously that's still further down the path. But Santos is a club that's kind of always there. They're not really challenging for much. They used to be better in the past, but what are your thoughts on Galaxy's chances against Santos? What do you think? Yes,
Um,
no.
I can answer this because I do kind of know a little bit more on the Santos part. Because obviously, more so on Liga MX, I do know that Santos are under a new, younger management that wasn't working well for them. But in their last couple games, they have been kind of providing results. But then again, it's only like 3 games. So you can't really expect much from 3 games. But I am an Acevedo hater. So, maybe Galaxy can
the
have a
goalie.
slightly, yeah. I don't like them. I'm sorry. I can't.
Embrace
I
the
can't.
hate.
I just can't. I really can't. And if you know why, then you know why. But as I was saying, I really do think Galaxy has the upper hand in this. But then again, if Santos are looking to redeem themselves more so in this later half of the year, or whatever, this would be a good chance for them. But it's Galaxy. I think Galaxy has it
Yeah, Galaxy for sure. This is
Well,
yeah. That's one of the Liga MX teams that they have like um the over on. I think for sure they'll get a win against them.
hell yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. So, ladies, before we head out, can you tell people where they can find you on social media? So if they want to follow more Cruz Azul, get your take on Liga MX, and follow Las
for sure.
Azulinas.
You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, even though it's
It's
Twitter to
always
us.
Twitter, baby. It's always Twitter.
Exactly. And Instagram and TikTok. We are on TikTok as Las Azulinas Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as Las Azulinas. And as for our personal social media, like soccer accounts per se, I do TikTok. If you guys want to go and check that out, it's a lot of like satire, sometimes Cruz stuff that I kind of want to jump back into. It's Virginia, and I also have Twitter where it's a lot of Cruz Azul stuff. It's Vicky, and yeah,
Diana?
Yeah, you can follow me at machain_sports on Instagram and Twitter. And I hope to see most of you at the game. And this is my chance to say I hope everybody is safe at the stadium. Just be careful, and I hope it's a fun day for both fan bases.
for sure,
The
for sure.
Galaxy Cruz Azul specifically. um, yes.
That's how you know we're live, man. Because there was a dog barking here a moment ago. But for me and Bryant and the rest of the News Across the Galaxy crew, we thank you once again for hanging out with us tonight. Everyone has joined us. Uh, Diana, Virginia, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an
Thank you for
honor
having
to
us.
have you on the show. For
Thank you
anyone,
so much for having us.
of course, you're always welcome here for more Galaxy talk or Cruz Azul whenever we play against you guys again.
For sure.
Um, like Diana said, for anyone heading onto the dig for the Leagues Cup matches, please be safe and vigilant. Please respect visiting supporters and avoid any unnecessary confrontations. But more importantly, have a great time. And as we always say on here, keep on nagging and Wu-Tang for life. Let's go.